What if everything you see, hear, and touch isn't real? What if reality itself is an illusion? Could we all be living in a dream, a simulation, or even a hallucination created by our own minds? The big question is, what is the true nature of reality? Is the physical world real, or just a projection? Is reality created by the mind, or is it independent of it? Could science prove that we live in a simulation? This is Wisdom Aporia, and let's dig into the nature of reality. Before we dive into theories, let's ask, what do we even mean by reality? There are three perspectives on it. One is the common sense, two is the philosophical, and three is the scientific view. In the common sense view, reality is what we see and experience. For example, physical objects exist independent of our perception. In the philosophical view, reality might be different from what it appears to be, or even be entirely constructed by our minds. In the scientific view, reality comprises particles, energy, and forces, but its true nature is still a mystery. Imagine a person wearing VR goggles. They see and interact with a world that feels real, but it's not. Could our everyday experience be something similar? We will unfold various theories within different views of reality and criticize them. Let's start with the perspective that most of us live by, the common sense view of reality. The common sense view holds that the world is pretty much as it appears to us. Objects exist independently of our minds. They have properties like size, shape, and color. When we're not looking at them, they're still there. The sun rises, rocks are hard, and apples fall when you drop them. It's the everyday realism that we all rely on, without overthinking. If I close my laptop and leave the room, I assume it's still there when I return. That's common sense realism. But is it accurate? Philosophers and scientists have shown that this view might be too simplistic. Perception can be deceiving. Optical illusions, dreams, hallucinations. Quantum physics suggests particles don't have definite states until observed. Idealists argue that what we call the external world might just be in the mind. So, while the common sense view is comforting and useful, it might be just the surface of something far more complex. Now let's explore some of the biggest philosophical theories about reality. One school of thought is idealism, which perceives reality as a mental construct. George Berkeley, who backs subjective idealism, says, "To be is to be perceived." This means that reality exists only when it is observed. Immanuel Kant, who is a transcendental idealist, says that we don't experience reality as it is, only through the filter of our minds. For example, if no one looks at the moon, does it still exist? According to idealism, reality is shaped by our perceptions. However, science suggests an objective reality exists beyond our senses. The second school of thought in the philosophical view is materialism, which believes reality is physical. Reality consists only of matter and energy, no spirit, no illusion. Everything, including consciousness, is just a physical process in the brain. A rock exists whether or not you perceive it. It is made of atoms, just like your brain and body. Then the question arises, how does physical matter create a subjective experience? What about hallucinations and dreams? Aren't they real experiences too? The third school of thought in the philosophical view is phenomenalism. According to this view, reality is what we experience. Reality is only our sensory experiences. If something cannot be experienced, it does not exist. Imagine waking up from a dream. You were convinced it was real, but was it? However, science suggests an objective reality exists beyond our senses. Philosophy isn't the only way to approach reality. Science, especially physics and neuroscience, has some mind-blowing ideas. Now, let's explore scientific theories about reality. In quantum mechanics, reality is uncertain. Particles exist in multiple states until they are observed, a phenomenon known as quantum superposition. The observer effect is that reality may depend on our observation. For example, Schrödinger's cat is both alive and dead until we look. So the question is, does observation create reality or just reveal it? Another scientific hypothesis is that we are in a simulation. So are we in a computer program? Nick Bostrom says, if technology can simulate reality, it is statistically more likely that we are in a simulation than in the real world. Some other scientists argue that we are already living in a simulation. For example, what if everything you see is just code running on an advanced computer? However, there is no hard evidence. It is just speculation, at least for now. Let's put these ideas to the test with some thought experiments. What if your brain is in a lab connected to a supercomputer feeding you false experiences? Could you ever prove otherwise? How do you know you're not dreaming right now? These ideas are fascinating, but no strong evidence supports them. So what does all of this mean for us? Does reality exist in the mind? Is reality physical? Does reality depend on observation? Or is reality artificial? If someone told you today that your entire life was a simulation, how would you prove them wrong? This is Wisdom Aporia, where we chase answers and find better questions.